ahead, Mr. Carrick.
Thanks very much, Chair. And it is really interesting to hear the Liberals talk. And I'd like to address two things, if I could, Chair. First is what is an underhanded swipe at a bill that passed the House of Commons with a plurality of support here only a number of months ago, and that is Bill S210. And what's interesting is there was some support from all parties, but functionally, what this motion and Ms. Khalid seems to be doing is to somehow stand up for the very companies that she just stated she didn't trust. She wants to stand up and allow them to distribute violent, pornographic material to minors. That is astounding, shocking, and quite frankly, Chair, absolutely disgusting. When I've taken great interest in Bill S210 because of how the detrimental effects, Chair, that a young person being exposed to violent, explicit material can have in a young person's mental health, in their ability to form productive relationships, and for the Liberal Party to be doing the bidding of a company like MindGeek that runs sites like Pornhub that is willfully, and the Privacy Commissioner referenced earlier today how they've just completed a study on some of the privacy concerns with that. It is astounding that they would be opposed to this, something that united all senators. And Chair, you've heard me talk, I'm sure at length, about some of the frustrations I have with the other place, as we refer to it. But when S210 passed unanimously through the Senate, and I believe that there was more than 40 different options presented for a site that hosts explicit material to be able to verify someone's age. Yet the Liberals don't care about the facts. They want to play politics and suggest that this is about digital ID. Mr. Chair, I tell you, this is a divide and distract at its best. They are doing the bidding of some of the worst corporate players in history. In history, as has been revealed by the good work of Canadian parliamentarians, as was an expose in the New York Times that was describing this, and those Liberal members would carry water for that. Absolutely unbelievable. So there's a lot more that certainly I could say about that, but it is obvious that they either haven't read S210, haven't read the bill, haven't cared enough about actually doing the research into what's being proposed and how it can actually protect young people, or they are intentionally trying to divide and distract from on an agenda that I won't even pretend to know what that involves, because it is certainly beyond the pale. But Mr. Chair, I would like to, if I could, share just briefly about some of the assertions related to the Charter. And again, this is what I can suggest is nothing more than an attempt to divide and distract Canadians. What the Leader of the Opposition has made very clear is that when it comes to the most heinous criminals in our history, the Quebec City mosque shooter as an example, the Leader of the Opposition was very clear that the justice reforms that he is proposing would make sure that heinous criminals like that, the only way they leave prison is in a box. And I know my colleague from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands said similarly in the House of Commons. But Chair, the Liberals don't seem to care about that. They care more about trying to, I don't know, score cheap political points or something to divide and distract, as opposed to have meaningful discussions around justice reform. And certainly when it comes to the notwithstanding clause, it's as if the Liberals forget that Section 33 is a part of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Now, are they deceiving, misleading Canadians on that? And it goes back to the very fundamental basics of the Westminster democratic system, and that is the fact that Parliament is the supreme lawmaking authority of the land. So I would hope that their intentions are not nefarious, but it certainly leads, and I'll let Canadians be the judge of that. Because when it comes to the criminal justice reforms that are being contemplated and suggested by the Leader of the Opposition, it's been very, very clear. And freedom, Chair, is a sword that slices both directions, for those you agree with and those you disagree with. And for members of the Liberal Party to suggest somehow that they stand up for the Charter when it is literally, and this is not the figurative use of the word literally, they are literally the only government in Canadian history to willfully suspend charter rights against Canadians. They did that, and it was found that it was done illegally. Chair, it is unbelievable that they would use these sorts of tactics, that they would gaslight, that they would, I don't even know that there's words strong enough that would be parliamentary to describe what the Liberals are doing on this. So if they want to discuss the use of the notwithstanding clause, I'm happy to do so, Chair, because there is a very clear case to be made that the most heinous criminals in Canadian history, they deserve to be behind bars. And I challenge constituents or the members of the Liberal Party to go and tell their constituents that those individuals should walk free on the Canadian streets. I challenge them to go to their constituents again when it comes to the issue that I first talked about, when it comes to the suggestion that somehow some of the worst corporate players, some of which have even moved their operations out of Canada, that they should somehow have a free pass to distribute explicit material to minors, and the devastating impact that that has on the mental health of our youth. Chair, it is seeing the worst of what so many people see when they think politicians. So, Chair, I certainly have a lot more that I could say on this, whether it's the constitutionality of what we've been talking about, how the hypocrisy of members of the Liberal Party, how it is astounding that they are trying to divide and distract in this way to somehow score some cheap political points because they're desperate, maybe seeing the fact that it's actually Canadians that get to make choices in elections. That is something that no parliamentarian should ever take for granted. But, Chair, I would move an amendment if I could. I would, because I think that there is a valid point to be made. So here's an opportunity. Let's take the political spin out of what the Liberals are trying to gaslight Canadians with, and let's move to a point where we can have a real discussion about what it means to actually protect the rights and freedoms of Canadians. Therefore, Mr. Chair, I would move that the first sentence up to that the committee report to the House, that the committee, so strike the first part of that sentence and keep point A and delete point B. And Chair, we'll make sure that the clerk gets a copy of that momentarily.
Okay, just do me a favor. Just repeat what you had said there, Mr. Couric, on your amendment, please, if you don't mind.
So that strike the first part of the first paragraph up to and keep that the committee report to the House, that the committee, and then keep point A, bullet A, and remove point B.
Okay, so the way I'm reading it then is that the committee recognize the importance of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms to protect the rights of all Canadians, including the right to privacy. Is that what you're proposing?
So yes, I accept that the committee report to the House,
Okay.
that the committee,
Okay.
and then point A, as you described.
Okay.